morning, dear students. This is your Sudha ma'am. Welcome to the third session of lesson 5, that is coordination, the linking system. In our last session, we have studied topics like central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and chemical coordinators. That is all about control and coordination in animals. In this session, we are studying about control mechanism in plants. Let's start our session. We know that in animals, control and coordination takes place with the help of nervous system and endocrine system. What about plants? Do they possess any nervous system or endocrine system? No. They don't have any nervous system or sense organs or endocrine system. Then, how do they react to stimuli? Plants can sense the presence of different stimuli like light, pressure, gravity, heat, chemicals, water, touch, etc. by the action of chemicals called hormones. The hormones present in plant are called phytohormones. Phyto means plants. So, the hormones present in the plants are called phytohormones. These phytohormones coordinate the activities of the plant, usually by controlling one or the other aspect of the growth of the plant. So, plant hormones are also called growth substances. The major plant hormones are auxins, cytokinins, gibberellins, abscisic acid and ethylene. Let us study some of these uses. Auxins. Auxins are used for cell elongation and differentiation of shoots and roots. They are helpful in cell elongation and differentiation of shoot and root. Cytokinins promotes the cell division. Because of this hormone, many cells are produced. It promotes the cell division, promotes the sprouting of lateral buds. That is nothing but the lateral branches are formed because of this hormone, and delaying in aging of leaves and opening of stomata. And another hormone, that is gibberellins. Germination of seeds and sprouting of buds. It helps in the germination of seed and sprouting of buds. Elongation of stems. Stimulation of flowering and development of fruit. It stimulates the flowering and development of fruit. It breaks the dormancy. Dormancy means inactiveness. The inactiveness in seeds and buds. It breaks the dormancy in seeds and buds so that whenever the favorable conditions are there, the seeds germinate, even the birds, they open into flower, they bloom like flowers. So, auxins, cytokinins and gibberellins, these three are growth promoters. They help in the growth of the plant. Whereas abscisic acid, another hormone called abscisic acid, which is known as growth inhibitor. And what is its function? Closing of stomata, seed dormancy, and promotes the aging of leaves. It helps in closing of stomata and seed dormancy. Sometimes the plants need, if it is losing excess water, it needs the closing of stomata. And sometimes if there is no favorable conditions to germinate, the seed dormancy is very helpful. So, in this aspect, this abscisic acid also useful to the plant. And finally, ethylene. Ethylene is a hormone which helps in ripening of fruits. This is about the uses of hormones in plants. And moving on to the next topic, that is tropic and nastic movements in plants. Plants generally show two movements, that is tropic movements or growth movements and nastic movements. Let's discuss about tropic movements. Tropic movements are directional or growth movements or responses of a plant to the stimulus. These movements are either towards or away from the stimulus. Phototropism. The shoots of the plant bend towards sunlight. The response of the plant to sunlight is called phototropism. The response of the plant towards the sunlight is called phototropism. Coming to geotropism, the roots always grow downwards. The roots of the plant grow downwards. The response of a plant or plant part to gravity is called geotropism. Coming to the hydrotropism, the response of the roots towards water is called hydrotropism. Generally, roots grow towards water. Where water is available, they grow that side. So, that is called hydrotropism. And next one is thigmotropism. Generally, creepers and climbers have thin and weak stems. Hence, they cannot grow erect. So, tendrils play vital role to make the plant erect. So, tendrils support a lot to making this plant erect. Tendrils means what? These are thin thread-like growths on the leaves or stems of climbing plants. These are the growths on leaves. Sometimes the leaves changes like tendrils, and sometimes these are the extensions of stems of climbing plants. They grow towards the support and wind them or turn them around the support and help them to turn around the support. This type of response to touch is called thigmotropism. Moving on to the next one, that is chemotropism. In the flowers, the ripened stigma secretes sugary substance which help the pollen grains to form pollen tube. Generally, during the pollination, the pollen grains are deposited on the stigma of the flower. So, the stigma secretes a sugary substance which attract the pollen grains, which induces the pollen grains to form the pollen tube. And what is the use of this pollen tube? The male gametes reach the ovule through the pollen tube for the fertilization. So, this type of response to chemicals is called chemotropism. In tropic movements, the plant parts move either towards or away from the stimulus. So, the stems of plants are positively phototropic. The stems of the plants are positively phototropic as they are growing towards the sunlight, but they grow away from the soil. So, negatively phototropic. Those are negatively geotropic, not phototropic, sorry. They are negatively geotropic. In the same way, the roots are positively geotropic but negatively phototropic. The roots are positively geotropic because they grow towards the gravity or soil, but they are negatively phototropic. They are away from the sunlight. The tendrils show positive thigmotropism, whereas the roots, if they find any obstacle like any rock or any wall like structures, if they find any obstacle in their way, they move away from them or they grow away from them, which is called negative thigmotropism. And already we know that the pollen tube formation is an example of positive chemotropism, whereas the roots on their way, if they find any chemicals, they grow away from them, which is called negative chemotropism. That's all about tropic movements in plants. Now, coming to nastic movements. Nastic movements are non-directional responses to stimuli, and growth may not be involved. The movement is generally due to changes in turgor pressure and it is generally reversible. Example, touch me not plant and Venus flytrap. And these are the examples of thigmonasty because they respond to touch, thigmonasty, but the movement are nastic movements, hence called thigmonasty. If we touch the leaves of the touch me not plant, that is Mimosa pudica. The scientific name of touch me not plant is Mimosa pudica, in Telugu attipatti. Its leaves fold up and droops down immediately due to the change in the amount of water in the leaves. Mimosa pudica leaves have pod-like swellings at the base. They are called pulvini. These pod-like bases are called pulvini and they contain large intercellular spaces and a lot of water in the pulvini. Due to the water pressure, the pulvini hold the leaf erect. Because of this water pressure, the pulvini holds the leaf erect. Touch me not plant show nastic movements by touch. This is called thigmonasty, already we discussed. When we touch the leaves, an electrical impulse is generated. This impulse acts on plant hormone. Because of this hormone, water in the pulvini cells which are close to the leaf vein migrate to the sides of the cell. The water which is present in the pulvini are close to the leaf vein migrate to the sides of the other places of the cell, so that the pulvini lose its firmness, hence leaves become fold. But after some time, like 20 to 30 minutes, water come back, pulvini attains firmness and leaves become erect. This is all the self-defense mechanism to protect itself from grazing animals. And now moving to the photonasty, that means the nastic movements towards light. During the daytime, the flower opens, but at night it closes. What we call this as photonasty. And moving on to the last topic of the lesson, that is, how does phototropism occur in plants? The bending of a plant stem towards light is an example of phototropism. This is due to the action of auxin hormone. The auxin hormone is present in the tip of the stem of the growing plant. It prefers to stay in shade away from the light. The auxins generally prefer to stay in shade away from the light. When sunlight falls on the stem from one side, auxin hormones get concentrated on the side of the stem which is away from the light. That is what we call it as shady side of the stem. And we all know that auxins promote growth. Due to the more auxin concentration, the shady side of the stem grow to be longer than the side of the stem which is facing light and makes the stem bend towards light. This is all about the tropic and nastic movements in plants. Let's summarize today's topics. Today we have studied about phytohormones and their uses, tropic and nastic movements in plants. That's all for today. Meet you in the next session. Thank you.